Hello, this is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharp. I am here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments now so I can answer those questions. It's good to see you today. Good to see you. All right, so I'm going to wait for those questions to come in. So go ahead, put the questions in the comments. I'm here to answer your questions and also give you great updates. Hello there, friends on Instagram. It's nice to see you. Boy, have I been busy. And I've been busy doing great things. I can't wait to share with you the great things, a symbol of hope that has come in just this week. So we're very happy about that. I'm going to be on TikTok. I'm just making sure you can hear me. Good night. So I want to make sure you can all hear me. So if somebody wants to go ahead and put in the chat that you can hear me, because I want to make sure we start well. So just confirm one person on Instagram. Can you confirm that you can hear me? And then we will kick off with updates. All right, I don't see anybody saying they can't hear me. So I'm going to assume all is well. And I'm going to go ahead and uh, set TikTok off too. So if you want to join on TikTok, go ahead and do that now. But yes. All right. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, guys. So much has happened. We got today alone, we got two asylum work permits. So it's going through, guys. They're still processing those. We got three T visa approvals, and these are types of visas that we get when our clients get approved here in the US. They then process an international visa for their relatives to come to the United States. Hello, Jeffy, it's nice to see you here. And we got those approvals. So not only are T visas moving forward, we've gotten approvals on the T visas. Those clients' relatives get the visa. So at the embassy, they get the visa to come here to the United States to reside. We got those in this past week. We've gotten three of those. So our clients' relatives will be joining them here in the United States, where they'll be able to live and work. And so the T visa does allow for spouses and children of the T visa recipient, the person who got approved, to be able to also get that. So and we got a VAWA work permit. So, yes, there's a lot going on, and we need to be alarmed, rightfully so. There's a lot of terrible things happening. But I want you to know that our mission here at this law firm is to focus on solutions. We have not been panicking. We've been staying steady, looking at the law, and making sure that we are applying for relief for our clients based on the available law. And this, guys, is showing that they are still enforcing the law. They're still enforcing the law. And when I say the law, they're still enforcing the law in that they're giving relief to immigrants who deserve that relief, who qualify for that relief. So this is where I'm saying, get in touch with us. Let us talk to you. We ask questions that not other lawyers do not ask those questions. And I think because of that, other lawyers do lose out on the type of relief. And that's why you don't hear about it much. But our work continues, and it's continuing like it was continuing last year. And of course, we are facing challenges here, but it means we're working harder, we're more diligent, knowing what we need to look out for. We are really still moving forward, but with hope, with faith, with hard work, and we're doing it. So I have been smiling from ear to ear for 3, 4 weeks now with all the great results that we have been getting here at the firm based on the law. But here's the thing that you need to know. You need to act now. And the reason I say that is because, yes, we are getting these results because of the law that exists now, but we can expect changes. So going forward, we can expect changes, and you want to make sure that you're ahead of those changes. If you've been following me for a while, you will all from last year, from for 2 years now, I stress urgency. You need to make sure that you are acting now because the law that is here today may not be there tomorrow. So, and the thing about the law is that when it's here, you do qualify for a work permit, you get your work permit, you are protected under the law, and they usually don't go backwards and take that away from you, right? So keep that in mind. Now, we've been seeing a lot of activity going on in court cases, litigation. So, we see that they're aiming to terminate TPS for millions of immigrants now. We're in the millions of immigrants in the United States. And some courts have been moving to block that. Of course, it's going to be appealed. We saw that they have put an injunction again on the end of birthright citizenship pending litigation. So we're going to see that moving through. But in the meantime, based on the district judge's finding, it may be appealed, but the district judge said that this is a class action lawsuit. And because of that, all babies born in the United States are now covered, as in when they're born, they're citizens and they can enforce the executive action ending birthright citizenship. We also have a new type of a bill that has been introduced in Congress, and it's worth talking about here. I know we've talked about bills like this before with positive immigration reform. It's worth talking about it now, though, because we are seeing a lot of chaos going on, and I really do have my instincts are telling me that based on what's happening, we are going to see the labor market possibly collapse because there are certain industries that heavily depend on immigrants. For example, in construction and farming, we're already hearing about, farms having to shut down. There's no strike in California because of the fact that if people go work on those farms, they're facing the raids. And so it is creating a lot of problems, right? It could possibly cause even food shortages if we are dealing with construction. Housing prices are going to go up because now you can't find people to work and in construction and hospitality, which is a big driver for the tourism industry here in Florida. So we're already hearing those kinds of rumblings too. For example, Trump has been bouncing back and forth between saying he's going to take some form of action to offer workers or provide workers the ability to work for farmers. He's talked about that, farmers and hospitality industry. So that's telling me that it is an issue that's coming to the forefront, right? They are worried about the fact, and they're probably seeing the effects. They're probably having employers in these industries lobby them about it. So go to them and tell them that they're facing devastating repercussions as a result of the deportation. And going back full circle to what I was saying, this is why I think that this new bill could solve this issue. And as the ICE enforcement gets worse, we may start to see more support, more businesses lobby for this kind of bill. It is also a bipartisan bill, meaning that not only do the Democrats, but actually a Republican congresswoman and a Democrat congresswoman have introduced the bill. They did initially introduce this bill. It's called the Dignity Act in 2023, and I probably talked about it in my one of past lives years ago. It went nowhere. However, it is back. And initially, the Dignity Act was a path to permanent residence after some years, I believe 10 to 15 years. However, given the climate now, the while this bill is trying to tackle the problems that are happening as a result of mass deportation, family separation, trauma that immigrants are facing, hardworking immigrants are facing, in addition to problems in certain industries, this bill has been amended to address those problems. So there is no longer a path to permanent residence. One other thing that I saw in the bill was that it does come with very harsh penalties for crossing the border without permission after being deported initially. So I believe now they criminalize it, and there is a 10-year sentence attached to that. So the penalties are going to be a lot harsher if immigration laws are violated here. But the trade-off is that immigrants who have been living here for 5 years will be able to come forward, and they could apply for this if they get their work permit to work here for 7 to 10 years, and though that can be renewable, and they would get their work permit, get their ability to travel back and forth, similar to a visa. And the other trade-off is they would have to pay penalties, and they would have to pay additional taxation. And the congresswoman had said that that's because the taxpayers, this should be done to raise funds for the United States, and also to make sure that no taxpayer dollars are being put into this new law that would be introduced. So there are differences in that it does not offer a path to permanent residence. However, it would solve the mass deportation problem. It would allow immigrants who are already residing here to be able to just have their work permit and freedom of movement. So you'd be able to travel back and forth. And while it's 126 pages of a bill, what I would say is, keep in mind, it doesn't necessarily take away your ability to get your permanent residence through other means. It would allow you to stay here, and if something else comes up that qualifies you for permanent residence, you could possibly still pursue that. And yes, now one thing with the Dignity Act is that Dreamers would be the group of individuals that would be able to get their path to permanent residence. Dreamers are children who have came here, who were brought here, and don't have any status. But other undocumented immigrants would be, once they pass a background check, show that they paid their taxes, and they agree to the penalties, they can pay the penalties that's attached to this, then you would be able to get that. So I would say it is a type of bill that would result in a solution to everything that we're looking at here. When I'm looking at the harsh penalties associated with that, and that's the problem, I think, too, is that every time there's a new immigration bill, it comes with harsher and harsher penalties. So in that case, later down the line we would see the effects of that. For example, if but the purpose of this is to stop illegal crossings at the same time while providing a solution to undocumented immigrants who are already here, law abiding and contributing. So that's what's happening now. It's in committee, which means that it has to be voted out of the committee first and then it goes onto the floor for a vote. So it has a way to go. And of course, we can expect amendments if it does get that far. So I will keep you posted. But why I think it's worth talking about it here is as we start to see the negative effects of mass deportations happening, maybe this is something that more Republicans will look at, or more um, representatives, Congress people will look at in order to tackle the negative effects of mass deportation while also solidifying the problems at the border and national security in regards to the border. All right. So we have as you can see, there's a lot going on. And if you want to get more details, I will be releasing long form videos on YouTube. It's called Getting the Green Card. So go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube so you'll be able to get more details about what's happening in court proceedings. What are the court orders and court decisions that have come down that affect immigrants, as well as this breakdown of this new bill and any other updates. So join me there. It's called Getting the Green Card. So now I'm going to jump into questions. So put your questions in the comments. I am on multiple platforms. So if you see me looking one way, it's because I'm reading the questions. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to make my way to each platform. All right. I'm a Canadian. I want to get the TN visa. You can always give us a call and then we can look at your qualifications. The TN visa is a visa that can be granted at the port of entry. So if you're coming across the border, they can look at your qualifications. You have to be coming to the United States to pursue a particular type of job. And there's a long list of types of jobs that you could be coming for. In some cases, it's as little as showing that you're coming to pursue the job or that you have received a job offer. So that's still there, but it just depends on what your qualifications are. I'm a US citizen, but my status says I'm a permanent resident. How to update my citizenship? I guess, where does your status say you're a permanent resident? If you got citizenship through a parent, you need to apply for your passport. And then, there's certain documentation you have to present. Or if you've gotten citizenship yourself and I don't know where it's showing up, but if your job is still has you as a permanent resident, you need to make that change by showing proof, your naturalization certificate, and make sure you go to DMV and as well as Social Security. The Social Security office needs to be the first place you go to because they will update your citizenship status there, and then everywhere else that does a check on your Social Security would be able to see that you are a citizen. I got 5 years, and my 5 years, what apartment and 5 years travel document? Okay, so it sounds like you got a 5 year travel document and a work permit. So it just means that while you're waiting for your process to move forward, you would be able to use this work permit and the travel document. Just be very careful about travel right now, because every day we're seeing in the news people are being detained, and the risk is a lot higher of that happening. My marriage can take like 1 year or something since I come from interview. Me and my wife do interview together, but still they don't approve the I-130. So sometimes, sometimes it takes that long. Sometimes they're looking at other things in your background. Maybe they might even schedule another interview. It just depends on how long. Usually you can check in with them 4 months after you did the interview to see what the holdup is. Sometimes that nudge can help them to make a decision. How to update your citizenship status. So go to Social Security office and make sure you're starting there. I'm curious if you are having a case for O1 visa, so that's the extraordinary ability visa. Those visas are still moving forward. So as usual, how long VAWA work permit take? I'm waiting 2 years now. 2 years is long for a work permit. No, if you are waiting for the VAWA petition, you're looking at 3 years. But if you're waiting for a VAWA work permit, um, and you've applied for adjustment of status at the same time with your VAWA, 2 years is very long. It's usually 6 to 12 months that those are taking. How long is marriage case gonna take? So the processing times have increased substantially, unfortunately, and this is because of the new processes that have been put in place. So we can expect to see the processing times go longer. I would say expect it could be shorter, maybe even longer, but expect a year to a year and a half, and also expect an interview. So they are scheduling interviews again, and they're really scrutinizing the marriage-based application. It goes through extra fraud detection, and it goes through extra evaluation of social media accounts. They're starting to do that now. And so these extra processes is going to take time. I believe I had read that it's going to take 360,000 hours a year, extra hours, by the way, not in addition to the time it already takes, extra hours to implement these new processes. All right, TikTok, I see those questions coming in. Hang tight, I'm coming. Can an undocumented child go to school? Yes, yes. I understand the fear, and a lot of parents have been pulling their children out of school, unfortunately, because of the fear. But they are supposed to be going to school, and that has not changed. But yet ICE has no boundaries, and so school has not become a safe place. But the undocumented children have the right to go to school. The school is not going to ask about immigration status. How long does it take to get BFD EAD with T visa, and what is the current backlog of T visa? I have received T receipts and it is filed at Nebraska. So I would say expect about 6 months, 6 to 8 months to get the BFD EAD, which is the work permit. My sister has asylum pending since 2017 and her case is admin closed. She's waiting for her visa F2B. She doesn't have criminal record or removal order. Is she not eligible to adjust? So in this case, she needs to definitely talk to an attorney. If she's no, it sounds like she is F2B, which means F2B, she is the son or daughter of a green card holder with who's 21 years or older and unmarried. The problem is if you said her case is admin closed, did she go to immigration court? Was she sent to immigration court? Because that sounds like immigration court proceedings were closed. They are moving forward with reopening those, by the way. 2017, I don't know if it was closed in 2017, but this is what is happening now. And now you said asylum pending since 2017. So it sounds like her asylum is pending, her case was admin closed, and she's waiting for F2B. So adjustment of status may not be an option here, but get in touch with us because we need to, it's definitely more complicated here. But adjustment of status through the F2B may not be possible. Maybe an I-601A waiver, but that requires her to leave the country, and asylum complicates that process because how can she go back to her own country? So get definitely she needs an attorney or need to talk to her attorney to make sure she's understanding how to move forward. I entered the US on F1 visa and applied for asylum within 1 year. My mother's a green card holder. Can I get a green card through her petition and adjust my status? It's unlikely. So you're on F1. I don't know if your visa F1 is still current. If your F1 is still current at the time that your priority date becomes current, you may be able to adjust status. It's all about the right timing here. And so this is where I always say, get in touch with us, talk to us about your case. Because in this case, it might not, but it might, just depending on is your visa valid? What's your current priority date? Is that current? If that's current, you may be in a good position. How long it take to renew my EAD combo card under VAWA? As I expect 6 months. F2B from Jordan, yes, she can get her visa. She needs to so it's not necessarily, and this is where I say, Wessam, this case is more complicated, and definitely we need to break down your facts a little bit more because it's not necessarily about terminating her case to get the visa, but if she's here in the US and she's been here without her papers, then adjustment of status is not likely going to be the option unless she qualifies for alternative options. We also do that for all our cases. All our appointments, we do take those extra steps. So we don't just listen to what your facts are, but we listen to what your facts are, and then we determine whether there are solutions you didn't think about. So that's also very important to note. Now, we are filling up very quickly, and if you do want to get the assistance, you can schedule your own appointment online. Just go to the link tree. The link is in the profile of the video of the TikTok and Instagram, or you can go to the description of the video on Facebook and YouTube. And when you go there, it will have a button that says go ahead and confirm your own appointment. You can go through that process and then schedule. If you don't want to do that, you can call. We are 24/7. And so call, talk to our intake specialist. They will get you set up for an appointment. I just urge you to get on it ASAP because our schedules are filling up quickly and I know it's urgent. Every case is urgent right now because the clock is ticking and things are changing so quickly that you want to make sure you're ahead of it. So that's what I would say your priorities should be. All right, I'm on TikTok. Hello, TikTok. It's nice to see you. I'm going to go ahead and answer questions here, but as usual, your questions is going to be valuable to all of us. So feel free to stay on, everybody else, to listen to these questions. Um, how long does it take to reopen my adjustment application after 290B approved? So usually you'll get it very shortly after. So I would say within 30 days, you should be able to be getting a notification. Is T visa being approved? Yes, 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 they're being approved. We've had such a great, we've had a great couple months since the 2025 started, but specifically in the past couple of weeks, we've been getting great results for our clients and the T visas have been approved. So, while yes, I'm going to say that I am noticing that they are asking a lot more questions before making a final decision, and they are being a lot more uh, so they are definitely reviewing it with a very close eye, questioning everything. That does add an element of complexity to the cases. We are getting the results, they are processing these. So don't let people tell you it's not happening. We just got asylum work permits, VAWA work permits, and T visa approvals. And our clients who approve for T visa, their relatives are coming into the US with additional T visas that we've gotten approved at the embassies abroad. In this case, we've gotten 3 approvals coming out of Jamaica, the embassy in Jamaica. Is N600 necessary if I have a US passport? So I would say right now in this climate, you should have multiple proofs of citizenship. It's not required, but I would say you need to make sure that you have multiple forms of evidence. And so that's where the N600 would be very good. Can I get deported with a C-14 and correspondence letter? I'm on wait for the U visa. Now, what I would say is your chances of getting deported while having a valid and current C-14, which is your in deferred action for the U visa, is unlikely. However, keep in mind if anything changes, they can always come back and say revoke deferred action because deferred action is discretionary. So you just have to be very, understand that you have this benefit, of course, but if anything changes that is negative, it could increase your chances of detention. But the whole point of the work permit being in deferred action is protection. The whole point of this is protection. You have that, you are protected. Marriage interview tomorrow, any advice? So I usually spend about an hour prepping my clients for these interviews. What I would say here, make sure you have all your original documents like your birth certificate, your passport, your uh, original marriage certificate. Make sure you have those. Make sure you have a copy of your file, whatever you submitted, make sure you have it because if something is missing on the file in the officer's file, maybe it would be helpful to the officer to get the copy that maybe they didn't see or it's not in the file. Just have copies, bring additional evidence. So if you have additional evidence of the bona fides of your marriage, bring it. Bring a photo album. I know it's like 9:30 at night. I don't know if you have time. If you haven't already done that, put that together your photo album. The photo album should not just have your wedding pictures. It should show a range of photos, photos in different days, different seasons, different relatives and friends, holidays, to show that you have been spending this time together. If you go to the link in the profile, you will see that there is a link to get sample questions that they may ask at the interview. Make sure that you are you can go look at those questions. And anybody who's going through the marriage-based process is something that you can do right now to see, to make sure you and your spouse you know what's coming and you're prepared for questions like that. So make sure you do that. And when you're in the interview, make sure you don't get ahead of the officer. Let the officer guide you with questions. While I'm not your attorney, I can't give you particular legal advice. My advice may be different depending on what the situation is, where maybe some problem points may be in the interview. What I would say is, don't get ahead of yourself. Make sure you're listening very carefully to the questions that the officer is asking and you answer exactly what the officer is asking. That makes sure that the officer is getting the information they need to make a quick decision and that nobody's getting confused. There are no misunderstandings or confusion along the way. So I would say those would that would be my main advice. I'm pretty sure I have more, but this is something to keep in mind. And take the extra step. Make sure you know your application line by line. Go through your application line by line. Make sure everything is correct. You don't have any new information. If you have new information that you want to provide to them, of course, it's always best to talk to your attorney about this new information so nobody's going to be blindsided going in. But make sure you have any updates that you want to add to your application as well in that interview. All right. I got approved on June 25th and haven't received my green card. He said in 2 weeks, but nothing. So we've had two cases like that. And what we have done is what we did get it resolved after some months. But what you can do, if it goes on for long, contact them to make sure that they have not sent it and it didn't get lost. But also, if it does take a long time, get an I-551 stamp, set an appointment to get an I-551 stamp in your passport. And also, and it might take about 30 days to 6 weeks just to get that process done. But that will be proof of your permanent residence while you wait for the card. And in some cases, not in some cases, you can use it to travel. The I-551 stamp, you can show it at your job, you can show it at the Social Security Administration. So that's one solution while you wait for a replacement card if you find out it's lost or you just don't see it. How to remove an ICE hold if in custody at county jail. Charges have been dropped. Yes, this is a really tough situation. And my clients did go through this. Unfortunately, there is really no way to get the ICE hold. So there's a lot of confusion about this, right? Because usually the police will contact ICE and they will put a hold if they suspect that the person that they've arrested does not have legal status. Now what they're doing is they're contacting ICE and ICE puts a mandatory hold on them. Under state law, it's a mandatory hold. And what that means is that they have to wait it out. So if it's a 48-hour hold, most of them are 48 hours. It means that even if they get bond, even if the charges are dismissed, it's no longer a criminal issue, it's an immigration issue. And if the police are working with ICE to hand over this person to deal with the immigration side of it. So unfortunately, it's a waiting period. Now, once ICE picks up the person, then that's where we go full force. So once we've determined that ICE got the client, which that has happened for us, then we go full force. The first is we contact ICE and we lay it out. Usually, if they're our client, they qualify for other relief. We raise that with the ICE officer that we're talking to. If they do not agree to release them on their own bond, then we have to go to the court and submit a request for bond. It's called a bond redetermination request. At that point, within 10 days of that request being submitted, there's a hearing before the judge. And that's where you would have to make a case for their release on bond. Now, bond does require payment, bond for a minimum of 1,500 and it can go as high as 8,000. And there are bonds men that can assist with this, or bond companies that can assist with this. But you can then expect it will be a process. And I think that's the most nerve-wracking part. But the ice hold, there's really no way to lift that ice hold. You have to go through it. I mean, unless, for example, there may be litigation in certain cases, but under the law, it does authorize the ICE to put a hold on them for the 48 hours. So, and it goes pretty quickly. It's pretty fast paced. It turns into a fast paced crisis from there. So, unfortunately, that's where you will need to get in touch. You get in touch with an immigration attorney. We are assisting, depending on where you are, our capabilities, we are assisting clients with bonds. So I applied for U visa on June 2018. I got my C14 last year. How long to get U visa? So it is taking anywhere from 7 to 10 years right now. So you can continue to renew the deferred action in the meantime. I'm going for citizenship tomorrow, but have a bunch of traffic violations between. So traffic violations alone. No, when you say traffic violations, it could be a problem, just depending on the severity of it. Is it parking tickets? Parking tickets don't necessarily make you disqualified for citizenship. If it's something more severe, like multiple repeated DUIs, then that could result in a problem. And then it also, when were obviously those DUI, the traffic violations happened while you were a permanent resident. Does it render you inadmissible or deportable? So you have to make sure that you get legal advice. Anything that has to do with criminal conduct, you need to make sure you get an attorney. No case is simple, no. And I think the biggest mistake people can make right now is to assume that this is simple business as usual. Yes, we are getting results, but the reason we are getting results is because we understand that everything is escalated and we are approaching it accordingly. I also practiced during the last Trump administration. And so I know how to switch gears very quickly because I lived the first administration. I know exactly what they're looking for and how they evaluate applications and what to expect, how things could change. And so it does give me the ability to approach the cases in this more complex environment. But do not assume that your case is simple. Oh, it's just traffic violations. Traffic, what kind of traffic violations? So after submitting my T visa to USCIS Nebraska, how long after I will get a receipt notice? Right now, we're seeing anywhere from 2 weeks, but more unfortunately on the 12-week side. So we're getting receipt notices of 3 months. And this is because applications are going in. And keep in mind that they are still slowing down. They're slowing down their processes on the back end, and that is causing a pileup. Now, what I would say here is if you are here without your papers, no matter how you entered, you need to make sure that you schedule an appointment and talk to us. Because there is no one solution here. There are multiple ways that we can find to be able to help you to get the kind of relief that we're getting for our clients. Of course, you do have to qualify for it, but we ask those questions. A lot of attorneys do not ask these questions, and I think this is where these kind of benefits are missed, and where you don't see it talked about as much. But we do that. So go ahead and make sure you're scheduling with us. We are 24/7, as in you can contact us 24/7 to talk to us about your situation and get on our schedule This is a busy time, guys, and make sure you're treating it with urgency. In addition to it being busy for us, there also we are day by day, I'm sitting on the edge of my seat waiting for the next change in policy, right? And determine how is it going to affect our processes. So get ahead of it so that whatever protections you're able to get it under the current law. All right. So the 48 hours usually begins usually upon the arrest. So how long is it taking for the relatives of T visa holders to come to the US? So once it's approved, we are getting appointments within a month or about a month or 6 weeks, depending on the country, by the way. So it depends on the country, but I would say a month to 6 weeks to get the appointment at the embassy to get that visa for to be confirmed for the visa to travel to the US. So the two work permits that we have gotten today alone from Asylum, they came in 6 months. Um, what are the chances of getting the bona fide with the T visa if you have nothing in your background, like no criminal record, no issues, no past removal proceedings? Then you could see you're likely to get a bona fide. But keep in mind too, it also depends on what you're presenting. To get the bona fide T visa, you have to make sure you are submitting everything correctly. You're submitting your declaration at minimum, your application, your required supporting documents. That's necessary. And then, just this is where I say the T visa, though, not even attorneys touch T visas, right? We are a part of a rare breed of attorneys that are doing the T visas. There are just a couple of attorneys that really focus on it. Our firm is one of those. So don't do this on your own, right? T visa is not something to do on your own. So get in touch with us and work with us to make sure your application is being submitted properly with the right documentation, the right steps are being taken. Are all admin closed cases going to be reopened? So I believe they're looking backwards during the Biden administration. So in the past few years, and we are seeing it happening now. So it is happening. Any advice for parent interview? Just make sure you have the original birth certificate or proof of your relationship with the parent. Make sure you know the application, your application, know everything in the application. If you have any updates, make sure you bring those in with you. But the parent child relationship, what they're going to be looking at mainly, because it's usually established through a birth certificate. Uh, and in some cases, if there's no birth certificate, then there are other ways to prove the relationship. But the main thing is probably the adjustment of status interview or at the embassy. And so they're going to look at admissibility issues as well. Is there any criminal record, any fraud in the past, immigration fraud, any other immigration violations? So if there's any concern there, make sure you're prepared to answer those questions. So for T visas right now, I would say it's over 18 months for an approval. So there it is, processing times have gotten longer. But keep in mind, we are getting work permits for our clients while they wait for the T visa to be approved, as long as the application is submitted properly. All right, I am going to head out. I'm going to answer a few more questions that I see coming in on Instagram and YouTube, and then I'm heading out and I will work. As you can see, we're very busy here, doing great work, getting great results with our attorneys here and with the great supporting staff that we have. If you want to meet one of our star attorneys, Attorney Deanna, you can go look at follow, and then you can scroll through the postings. You'll see Attorney Deanna and how she's contributing to the firm and how we're working together to make things happen. So get to know us and get to know where we are driven. Our mission is to make sure that we are helping immigrants to find legal means to be here, to be with their families, to make sure that they stay unified with their families, and to continue to do the constructive work that they've been doing here, ultimately achieving their dream and bettering their life while also contributing to the United States. That's our main mission. And so we're very solution oriented. So make sure you get in touch with us. Also, like, subscribe, share, follow. This is how other people, they're going to know that we here offer the solutions to help immigrants to empower themselves in their immigration journey. I give regular updates and information that's beneficial. So just go ahead and do that. So thank you everybody for joining me. I'm gonna work to come on as often as I can as usual. So just that's the way. Like, subscribe, share, follow. So as when I come on, you can come on and then we can get started on the conversation. You can come with your questions and I will come with answers and updates. Okay, so my T visa application was submitted April 2024. When can I look for work permit or bona fide? So what's happening is that some the bona fide determination is really the priority they're giving is to people who applied after the policy change, August 28th, 2024. Anybody before that, they are seeking to make a decision. If they can't make a decision because they've issued a request for evidence, then they will consider a bona fide. So unfortunately, those individuals have to wait, likely have to wait for a final decision or an RFE before they can get a work permit. Can I expedite VAWA case based on cancer? Applied March 2024. I'm so sorry that that has happened. That is definitely a valid request, a strong request for an expedite. I would like to make an appointment, but I go to work early and leave later, only off and weekend. How can I talk to you? So, yes, we do have appointments from Mondays to Fridays. We are considering Saturday appointments for one weekend of the month. I'll announce when we can make that happen. But in this case, you would either have to, you would definitely have to make sure you make this a priority. It usually the appointments are 30 minutes. So if you can do this during your lunch break, many individuals do it during their lunch breaks. So if you can fit us in your lunch break, just give us a call and let them know, and we can see if we can work with you on that. If there's availability, but you have to make sure you're contacting us ASAP to ensure there's availability. Can a minor who was pre-approved for a green card be required to go back to their home country? They came on visa overstayed and is being petitioned by stepmom. If stepmom is a U.S. citizen, then and the stepmom qualifies to sponsor them. Usually, if the stepmom married the parent before the child turned 18, then they should be an immediate relative, and that means that they could go through adjustment of status even after overstaying. But this is where I say get in touch because I'm not your attorney. I can't give you particular legal advice. So this is where I say get in touch and make sure that you're doing it properly. How long does it take to get asylum interview notice from Arlington office? I applied January 2023. So we've seen it as short as a month, but we are seeing also years to get an interview. So it could take years. All right. Can a minor who was pre-approved for a green card be required to go back to their home country? Okay, so I answered that. Um, what if somebody's in proceedings? So even if you're in proceedings, if there's relief for you outside of the proceedings, that can actually help you to get the proceedings terminated or succeed in your process. So get in touch with us. Let us know what's happening. My husband just migrated uh, today. Long, can he file for me, please? If he is a green card holder, yes, or if there's a special visa you can get based on being his spouse, that may be possible, but we have to know more. May case in USCIS on May for T visa. So how much time will it take to get approval? Well, we're seeing 18 months. I would say over 18 months. I've applied for my work permit in April. I haven't received it until now. It's been delayed. What steps must I take? Do they still give work permits? Work permits are still coming. It depends on what kind of category you're applying for. So it just depends. Keep in mind, most work permits take about 6 months to even a year to even uh, over a year. So um, you may not be outside of processing times. Phone number. So it's all over my videos. If you're following on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, you will see the number on the videos. But I'm gonna say the number right now, and it's 561-405-4889. You can go ahead and call right now. We have staff answering phones 24/7 to make sure we're here to help. Do you think our Congress would be able to help because it's beyond NVC? Yes, contacting your congressional liaison could be a way. So get in touch with us. Here's what I would say. I don't know if you're new here, you may not know what the T visa is. There are multiple forms of relief. So if you're here without your papers, give us a call, contact us, let us know what your situation is, and then we can work to assist you. See what their solutions there are. T visa, if you are in a situation where you feel trapped because somebody's making you feel trapped and making you do things like working or do acts that you would not have willingly done, but because of their making you feel trapped, you have to do it. It's time to give us a call and talk to us about what you're going through, and let's see if you qualify. The name of this law firm is ST Law Office. So you'll also see that all over you'll see it on the website, you'll see it on the logo and on my videos. So go ahead, visit the link, get to know us, visit the website, go to the our well-established social media accounts. You'll see all the good things that we're doing right now. And I am telling you, I'm really happy that we are able to walk on faith and do the work and move forward. So this is where I say on your end, we can't help you unless you take the action yourself to get help. So I would say this, don't give up hope. Talk to us. we let us talk to you about your situation and see if there is an alternative option under the law that can help you to stay here and get protection. Right now, in addition to everything that's going on, we are now seeing that ICE is now making a move to not grant bond. While an immigration judge, ICE has the ability to do bond, right? To give bond themselves. If ICE doesn't declines to give the bond, then you can take it to the judge for what's called a redetermination bond request. That's scheduled within 10 days of the request. So, what they're saying is there's an internal memo going around saying that they will not issue bond. So they're going to start detaining undocumented immigrants and keeping them locked up if they've entered the country previously without permission. So it's very important. The reason I'm saying this is because it's important to try to find solutions to get protection before you're in that situation, because we're seeing where they're now going to be trying to make it get harder and harder to be able to get released from detention. Here's another piece of good news, by the way. In Florida, it went all the way up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court declined to consider the request from Florida to to be able to criminalize being an undocumented immigrant. So that means because the Supreme Court declined it, it means that the hold on this law, the criminalizing undocumented immigrants, will move forward. So the judges that put that in place have succeeded here, and it will remain on hold until they can finish the litigation. And already the judges have found that this law appears to be unconstitutional. So, there's that there. However, my aim is to make sure that we are finding solutions for you before any complications happen. We're a safe space. It's all confidential. So you are free to tell us what you're going through, and then we can see what solutions there are under the law. With everything that the results that we're getting for our clients, that's a testament to the fact that hope floats. It's still there, available, and they're still processing it. So get in touch with us. Do it now so that we can get started with you. All right. Thanks so much for joining me. It's so nice to see you. And I hope to see you next time I come on. Remember, like, subscribe, share, follow. That's how you're going to know when I come on, so that you can join me if you're available and we can continue this conversation. Thanks so much. Bye bye.